Well, let's check the chat one, or
yeah, let's check the actual questions.
yeah.
Does anyone have any questions? Yeah, you can play. Somebody here we have Traitor Bagel is asking if you can play any country shown on the map, and of course you can.
Yeah, any country.
Any country that is on the map can be played as.
Yes.
Some more difficult than others.
Yeah, I don't think that Riga is trying to. Is that easy to do a world conquest on?
It's a good challenge, though.
Yes. Let's see if the QA team can do that. Or
I think we've gotten the question a couple of times now if we can create new nodes, trade nodes, and you can't create any trade nodes. You can't create any trade routes. But the thing is that what they are there representing trade flows or potential trade flows, and as a monarch you can't really move that, but you can. Since you can't change how the trade flows, you have like a bunch of trade nodes that are dead at the start of the game. And as you project power, as you build colonies, and you can actually change how trade shapes up. But I mean, the basic infrastructure is there for unchanged.
Yeah. If we're looking here at the screen, I'm just going to show you a little country.
Can we form the Roman Empire? Somebody asks.
The Holy Roman Empire is already.
Well, the Holy Roman Empire is already there.
And you can unite it.
And you can unite it, exactly. I'm not sure if that's what he has.
Yeah, and of course, when the Ottomans have taken Constantinople from the Easterners, they of course are the rightful heir to Rome.
Yes, of course. There's lots of people claiming to be the rightful heir of Rome.
Yes, I think this is one of the few countries that doesn't. Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
We did some pretty heavy.
We actually switch over to the map here for a short moment. There was somebody asking before, maybe we should remove the fog of war.
Or tag.
Yeah. Somebody asked if Japan is united as the start, and as you can see, it is not.
Yes. We did some heavy changes to Japan. There's not these 4 daimyos we had in EUIV Divine Wind. We also reduced lots of the provinces, making them the historical divisions. You have the Date clan and the Takeda and Yamana, and we have a new system where Japan is a country and every daimyo is a vassal of it, which is basically the independent clans here, which have the system daimyo. The difference here is that any vassal to Japan can fight another vassal. That's the only vassals that can fight. So you can keep fighting each other.
Yeah.
And then when you have enough under you, you can unite Japan. Yeah. So it's a different thing, and this is something we work together with a bunch of the researchers we had for the Sengoku game to make Japan a really, really different, unique, and more historical place to play in.
Yeah, and I think this is, I mean, Japan is almost like a mini game in itself.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun. We also changed a little bit with Ming. There's no more, we still have factions. Factions are awesome. Yeah. But we do not have, what's it called? There's no rules limiting you what you do. Instead, you have a bunch of penalties because you have the Chinese bureaucracy, and then depending on which faction you have in power, those penalties are removed. So you have one for technological research and development, you have one for economical stuff, and one for military.
Yeah, so
you keep rotating and you use power to switch ones should be in.
As China, you really have a potential superpower strength, but you really have to balance it depending on which
yeah, as you see, immediately at the start, even with all their penalties, they're the far richest countries. No, not well. That's kind of like we had the questions like, is this reinstating treasure ships? But basically, yes. If you're focusing on the expansionistic stuff, then you can do all these things. But China is a huge beast. But you have to like turn them around slowly to what you want, and then they have weaknesses. So, but they are a worry. A good player can really have fun with them. Any more questions you find there?
Somebody asked if it would be fun to play smaller countries like Serbia, for example, or like the smaller Russian states. And I mean, for me, I've always been one of these players who likes to play as the smaller countries. Like, I mean, the Russian principalities aren't very small actually, but
no.
How big
but
is Serbia?
Serbia's 4 provinces.
4 provinces.
They got
really
Serbia, Ruska, Kosovo, and Zeta there.
Yeah, I mean that's really an ideal size of a country for me, because they have a couple of provinces you can build something, and you're not one province nation.
But
you can really, I mean, what you have in the game if you play a smaller country is going to be what you create.
They have this little problem that
yes,
they have this
problem.
country here called the Ottoman Empire, is strong, rich, and have a bunch of missions to take Serbian provinces. So don't expect you to...
No, especially if you're at the border of the Ottomans, you need friends, definitely.
Yeah, and the Hungarians are not that reliable.
Yeah.
The Battle of Varna showed that.
Yeah, exactly. We start the game at the Battle of Varna.
It just ended.
Yeah, it just ended, so the stage is really set for the Ottomans to come.
Yeah, they got Janus Hunjari. That's one of the
Yeah,
coolest events in the game, I think.
Oh, which one is that?
Shall we restart the game? No. Let's go back to the discussion thingies, and I'll just restart the game, and we'll... Can you swap the camera? Cool. And we'll basically restart the game, and I'll go show you what's really cool with Hungary. Because Hungary is...
Yeah.
It's one of those like the dynamical historical events that we haven't really talked that much about. Or actually we have talked a lot about it on the forums, but it's one of those things that are really neat, because what I want to have is lots of flavor of historicity, but not really railroading it. But the earlier in the game, there's more railroading, but the later on in the game...
Yeah, you have more radical events, I think, at the start of the game.
Yeah. But you still have stuff like the Burgundian question and...
Yeah. One interesting thing, I like to play Poland, actually, because, like I said, I like these medium-sized countries. I mean, people like... and one of the effects of having a 1444 start is that Poland is in a regency council. But you have some interesting historical decisions which can bring the Lithuanians back into the fold.
So you have this diet can happen anytime at the start. Then you can have a regency council, or keep
the Habsburg king.
Yeah.
What happens if you keep the Habsburg king?
You have a current regency council. You can get a new regency council with Janus Hunjadi, with better stats, a 455. But then you have, while Ladislav whatever name he is, has becomes the heir, but then Austria dislikes us. Or we can gain stability, and he has better stats. So you have like, do I want a really good leader now? For a while?
Exactly. Or do I want a competent heir that will come up later?
Yes. So because, let's go with Janus.
He's kind of good, actually.
He's really, really good. And since he's also connected to military, he is already a 444 leader that you're started with. So cool. So
we've been talking about this for a long time now.
Yeah. So we're supposed to wrap up in a few minutes. Our goal is to have the game out early Q3, I think, or mid Q3, whenever Q3.
I would just want to pick up a thing from the chat here. Somebody's pointing out that the funny fact is that Poland-Hungary PU, the personal union, ends one day before the game starts, and that is actually the point of this game start, is that lots of things break up after the Battle of Varna that makes for a much more interesting game start.
Yeah,
play-wise.
That's definitely why we picked it. Yeah. It's always the big debates like which date to pick, etc. Yeah. The original EU1 started in 1492.
Yeah, with Christopher Columbus and this kind of...
Yeah, that's cool. was it 1419 in EU2? I think
Yeah.
it was because it was in the middle of a fun part of the 100 Years' War.
Yeah, I always liked when we moved the date back, so you have this kind of more balanced playing field.
Yeah, 1453 was obviously because then we had eradicated Byzantine.
Yeah,
Um,
but now they're back.
yes, and life expectancy 2.2 years. We had a multiplayer game with Eastern powers. We put Forza in Constantinople, or Byzantine
Oh, you
Empire.
have one really rich province. Do you have an extra province somewhere?
You have some down in Greece.
Yeah.
He lost so badly in just a few years when the Ottomans come like, well, we want the city.
Yeah, well, you need a bit of luck at the start as a
Yeah.
Byzantine, or, you know, shrewd diplomacy.
Yep. Cool. Yeah,
Anyway,
that's... Yeah, EU4, yada yada, goes out on in Q3. Awesome game we're really proud of. We're gonna keep giving more and more information of it
yeah.
in the next few.
And I think the biggest reason why we're not releasing it now is that we want to be better than the other people in multiplayer when it comes out.
Yeah, and not have to resort to dev hacks.
Exactly.
Now, as you see, there's still a bunch of stuff to do with
Yeah.
interfaces. We need tutorial. We need to get the AI. I mean, the AI runs on slightly better than EU3, but we want it to be better than that.
Yeah, definitely. And also a huge focus for us is we want to widen the appeal of the game and get more people to play it. I mean, not by sort of making it more simplistic, but enabling people to understand how you play the game better. So we're going to have a tutorial and try to look at the interface even a bit more, so that people look at this game, and some people think it's complicated, but it's not as complicated as people think when you look at the old EU3 game.
Yeah, we should make it should be a complex game, but not complicated.
Exactly.
Historical plausibility at its best.
Yes.
Cool, then we're done.
So, thanks.